Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dan Chat. We are back. Sheesh. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Wow, do we have a lot to get through today? Wow, man. Absolutely insane stuff today. So, how's it going? Okay, bye. Okay, and so we're back with DanChat. So today, it's going to be a bit of a long one. Grab your popcorn, grab yourself a drink, and get ready because we've missed a lot of stuff. We really, really have. I think, anyway. Let me know if the sound's too loud or too quiet or anything. Please let me know, I'll sort it. But overall, we've got a lot to get through today. So, like I said, it's going to be a triple header of DanChat. So let's get it started with what we missed. So what we missed was over the Easter holidays, where I was away for about 2-ish weeks. I was still making these DanChat episodes, so we're going to start off with some of them. So let's get started. First of all, the future of Smash at EVO and EVO Online 2021. Now, if you're part of the FGC and you haven't seen this yet, my god, it's nuts stuff. So EVO, probably the biggest fighting game tournament in the world, posted a statement on March 18th saying a message to our community. EVO would not be possible without the collective passion and collaboration of the fighting game community, and we're deeply grateful for your dedication over the past 25 years. We know last year was challenging due to the pandemic and the circumstances surrounding the cancellation of EVO Online involving a former team member who has been completely separated from the company. So if you don't know who the team member is... Oh, maybe I skipped this track. No, it's fine. Okay. So if you don't know who this former team member was, that is Mr. Wiz. And Mr. Wiz used to be one of the leading figures in running EVO, and got kicked off of the team for doing some really, really questionable things, which I don't personally want to talk about on DanChat, because they're really, really awful. If you just search up Mr. Wiz controversy, you'll find it. But he's been completely separated from EVO. We want to reaffirm that harassment or abuse of any kind has no place within EVO or any of our future events, and we're taking every precaution to make sure members of our community will always be treated with the respect, dignity, and decency you deserve. In order to deliver on the trust you have all put in EVO, we realize we need an experienced strategic partner who truly respects the spirit of the FGC. This is why we're excited to announce that EVO has become a part of a joint partnership with Sony and RTS. Boom. That's nuts. Like, the fighting game community hasn't seen a partnership like this before. It's absolutely insane. Like, this hasn't ever happened. Right? Vote EVO 2. Lord. This hasn't ever happened before, and a lot of people have been talking about, oh, what does this mean for certain games? What does this mean for certain platforms? And EVO 2021 Online is confirmed. So let's go back to my DanChat page and talk about that. So a lot of people, you can actually see the first comment underneath it is this guy saying, fuck, does this mean Smash is gone? And I would say, no. I don't think Smash is gone from EVO. I think Smash is gone from EVO this year. And the reason why I'm saying this year in particular is because this year is EVO Online. And because of EVO Online, and everybody knows that Smash has absolutely horrific netcode, imagine trying to run one of the biggest Smash tournaments you've ever seen through an online format. There's absolutely no chance. Like, I highly doubt Smash will be at EVO 2021 online. It definitely won't be here this year, at the very least. But I do think, I will say, I do think it will be back in 2022. And let me explain why. For the past few years, Smash has been one of the biggest titles at EVO. It's been one of the most entered titles at EVO. And the only reason why it wouldn't be there is because Nintendo wouldn't want it there. Like Alex says in the chat right there. Hello, Alex. But like I said, it's been one of the most entered events at EVO over the past few years, and I highly doubt that EVO can afford to take that risk to take Smash out of the EVO lineup. And and I think part of the mentality with it as well is if Smash does get removed from EVO, that's quite a big statement. Mainly because I personally like seeing Smash and other platform fighters as a part of the FGC. But I know a lot of more classical FGC players don't see Smash and other platform fighters as part of that FGC dynamic. And I very much disagree with that. I genuinely think Smash should be a part of the FGC. But if Smash gets removed from EVO, there could be a much bigger clash between these two scenes. And I don't think EVO would want that to happen. Especially as they're saying, in their statement, they literally say that, you know, we know last year was challenging, and, you know, we're deeply grateful of your dedication and your collective passion and collaboration. So it's like, why would they ever remove that, you know? So that's something to think about, absolutely. But I 100% think that Smash won't be at EVO this year, mainly because of absolutely awful online, and trying to run that is going to be not so good. But I think it will be at EVO 2022 when we get back to offline play. And I really, really hope it will be at EVO 2022. What were the confirmed games? So, confirmed games... EVO. I'm pretty sure... Tekken 7, Street Fighter 5, MK, and Strive. So, there you go. And talking about Tekken 7, let's talk about it. So, a lot of people thought, you know, Sony are acquiring EVO. EVO's only going to be on PS5s and PS4 consoles from now on. Which, within itself, isn't going to be too bad, because EVO was already run on PS4s pretty much, you know, apart from Smash. But Tekken 7 is going to be occurring on PC, and that's quite interesting because, yes, most of the Tekken 7 player base is on PC. That's a good move for getting the participants in. But the fact of the matter is, Tekken 7 on PC leads to a lot of potential cheaters, and that's the thing that's very scary. Trying to run a tournament of that size with a lot of potential cheaters, and as we know now, and I'll talk about this later as well, Tekken have tried to start banning people for cheating on Tekken 7 on PC, but it's so easy to get around it if you know how to. And that's part of the problem. So, yeah, like you said, Brandon, Tekken 7 cheater problem is absolutely nuts. And getting, you know, the TOs and people to run it and have that many people like DQ'd from bracket or confirming they're cheating or something like that, it's got to be so hard to run a tournament of that caliber with Tekken 7 on PC and with cheating in the mix. So that's going to be really difficult, but I'm really excited to see how they do it. I will certainly be participating in Evo Online for Tekken, so we'll see. Apparently Alex, Tekken 7 on PC is funny because the hardware disparity, but apparently the ban workaround has been fixed. Oh, I don't know, I haven't seen that. Maybe it has. That's not something I've seen, but that's the beauty of DANCHAT. I can talk to you about it, and if you know more than me on certain things, then you know, feel free to tell me. Oh, and let me know if the sound is good, by the way, if my mic is peaking or anything. Okay, right. So next up, after yeah, please do. Feel free to find the tweet. Sounds all good? Perfect. So, next up is this controversy. Saying GG's, and I've literally underlined it saying, why was this even a controversy? Not underlined, but I've put in brackets. Oh, bits! Thank you for the bitties, Warren. I appreciate the 5 bits. GG's, but really it was BG's, lord. Right, so there was this tweet that came out from your fave scrub. Normalize saying GG's after your matches, please. Win or lose, sportsmanship comes first. And this is a sentiment I absolutely 100% agree with. A lot of people in the comments of this tweet were saying, oh, but what if it wasn't a good game? What if the guy just stalled me out and timed me out, you know? What if this person just, times me out or something, you know? Then that's still a skill within itself. Like, you might think that, oh, he timed me out, that's such a bad game, I really didn't enjoy playing it. But you've got to respect the skill he put into timing out. Like, mods, can you ban that bot, please? But, thank you. But, what happened there was, Sonic says, always say G's, because their G's might not always be a G. True. But I think one of the biggest things with this is, like I said, people don't really respect their opponents that much if you're not offering a GG's. Like I said, let's go back to that timeout situation where, you know, someone's like, oh, I really didn't enjoy that game, that he timed me out, but he had to put effort into trying to time you out. He might have had a strategy in mind to time you out. And if you don't like getting timed out, find a strategy to beat it. Find a workaround, because he's the better player at the end of the day. Just give it a handshake, say GG's. It's so easy. It takes 2 seconds. Like, I don't understand. Like, what? One of, like, the only times I would say where you don't say GG's if it's like a really good grudge match. If you have like a personal problem with the opponent sitting across from you, like, I don't know, if for example, let's take low tier god, right? A lot of people really fucking dislike low tier god, and a lot of people really dislike low tier god on a personal level. I think at that point, fair enough, you don't have to say BG's, because that's like your problem is with the person, not with their gameplay, and those are two entirely different things, right? Oh no, like, I understand that one, but I'm saying, like, for people who actually have like a personal problem with LTG, for example, you know, and if what about blanker players? But take another one-on-one sport. I know we're talking about esports here within the FGC, but let's take a sport like tennis, for example. I can think of very, very, very few times where someone hasn't gone up and given a handshake to the opponent. Like, there are so few times where, like, I can remember within tennis that, you know, the two opponents haven't gone up to the net and given each other a handshake, you know? And that's the same sportsmanship I expect to see within the FGC. Like, you know, if we're looking at this from a sportsmanship, and if we want to be like a competitive sport or esport, this is something that needs to occur. And I really do I really do think that, yeah, like Alex says right now, GG's is a matter of courtesy, right? 100% GG's is a matter of courtesy. And yeah, so that's what I think about this. I don't know why this was even a controversy, because it shouldn't be a controversy. It's like, it seems so simple. Like, it seems so simple. But let's move on from that, because we have a lot to get through today. Next up, we have, I am not qualified to talk about the new ban list, so let's talk about how badly balanced Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. Now, the reason why I say I'm not qualified to talk about the ban list is because mainly, I don't play that much competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. I rarely go to tournaments and see decks go up against each other or anything like that. Dan shits on Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 25, something like that. But, like, that's, like, part of the reason I say I'm not qualified to talk about it, because it's, I haven't been a part of that competitive scene for a long time now. Yes, I still follow it, and I still follow the meta, and I still watch a lot of stuff, but I don't personally play by myself, so I don't really know exactly what's going on. But in terms of the balance of Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's, even with ban list, it's so hard to like save this game at this point. It's like so atrocious, right? There comes a point, I think, where the game has snowballed too far, and that's definitely Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, and we'll get onto a bit more of that later on, but one of the biggest things about it is that the fact that you can make it a one-player game. As soon as you can make the game a one-player game, it's like over. Completely over. And that's that. Like, there's no way you can fix Yu-Gi-Oh! Now. There's like no chance, right? Absolutely zero chance you can fix Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's really upsetting as someone who's been a fan of the franchise for a very, very long time. It just makes me really upset. I've slept on Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever since they added pendulums. And that's completely fair. You actually got out of a really good time there, woman. Okay. Now, talking about unbalanced Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's move on. I know that was a relatively quick section, but I just want to, like, show how upset I am with that Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't a game that can be played competitively without thinking about, oh, my opponent can end this in one turn. Casually, it's still a very fun game, I think, but competitively, yeah, no way. Next up, Pot of Greed and Pot of Desires. So, talking about card profit in TCGs. So, chat, does anybody know what Pot of Greed does? Does anybody know what Pot of Greed does in chat? Everybody, I need to know. It ends the game. Okay, you're not too far off. So, what it actually does in context, I know it's the meme, but it's draw 2 cards. That's what the card does. And what that means in terms of card profit is, I don't believe it. And what that means in terms of card profit, if this is too hard for you, chat, you can count on your hands. You're spending 1 card, so you're at -1, and then you draw 2 more, so you're at 0, and then you're at +1. So, you've got a +1 profit from using Pot of Greed. And that's what card profit is. Having a positive in card profit is really, really, really good. Because what it means is you've gained more than you've lost. And because of that profit, this card is officially banned in competitive play. Because you can't use any copies of it in your deck, because it has that +1 card profit. For most cards, you want to strive to make them about even. But let's go on to this card, Pot of Desires. Oh. Yeah, Troll and Toad, whatever. Right, so Desires, so what a Pot of Desires does is it banishes 10 cards from your top of your deck face down and then draws 2 cards. And you would think, according to how Pot of Greed works, that this is a pretty bad card, because you're getting rid of 1 Pot of Desires and then 10 cards from the top of your deck. So you're at -11, and then you draw 2 cards. So that's -9. And a lot of people think, oh, that's -9. That card is absolutely awful. The thing is, it isn't. And let me tell you why. It's because 2 cards in your hand is worth more than 10 cards you're not going to use. And that seems really weird, right? But those 10 cards which you banished, which kind of means removed from the game in Yu-Gi-Oh! There are some decks that can use the banish zone, but it's a few of them. So it isn't common to use the banish zone. But the fact is, those 10 cards are worth nothing if they're not in your hand. And very few games end by decking out, which is when you run out of cards to draw. So discarding 10 cards to get those 2 cards in your hand which you can actually use is so good. When you lose 10 cards but beat them in one turn. Exactly. With the state Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in now, those 2 cards are so strong. And it especially can be used in a situation where, for example, if you draw and Pot of Desires is the only card in your hand, you get card profit from that. You now have 2 cards in your hand instead of just 1. And that's why Pot of Desires is a really good card. But a lot of people talk about, well, should it really be used in competitive play that often? Because, you know, sure, this card allows you to draw 2 more random cards from your deck, but there's a ton of cards that allow you to search for a card just via their effect. And so it could be like, I normal summon this monster, and the effect says, once you normal summon this monster, you can search for a level 4 or lower card from your deck. And you do that, and you get that card. So you can search for a specific card you want, whereas Pot of Desires is just a random chance to get the card you want from your deck. But the thing is, with the state the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is in, getting 2 random cards from your deck is like so much stronger than you think it is. Because with 2 random cards from your deck, most decks can get off their one big combo. And the thing is, those cards that search for cards, or search for specific cards, are used in the middle of combos. Right? And when you're searching for stuff in the middle of combos, and we'll talk about this later, those effects can be negated. Whereas Pot of Desires, which puts the cards in your hand rather than out onto the field, that cannot be negated because the cards are in your hand, you haven't actually used them yet. Whereas if you play an effect that allows you to special summon something out onto the field from your deck, then that effect can be negated almost instantly. So that's why Pot of Desires is really good. I've seen a lot of people, newer people in Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG ask about why Pot of Desires is really good, even though it's got a negative card profit. And this is the reason why. Warren, it's actually a benefit as it increases the chance of drawing a card you need later on, provided it isn't banished. Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with you. So I just wanted to talk about that because that's something I've seen new players come in with, asking, why is that card good? And that's the reason why. Next up. I know we're speeding through it today, chat, but we have a ton to get through, so we have a ton to catch up on. So, next up, Lenyu character, former Tekken. It's Lydia, everybody! So let's talk about my thoughts on Lydia. Lydia is probably the coolest Tekken DLC character that has been released. And I say that with absolute, 100% thought in, without any, semblance of thought. I mean, okay, here we go. Okay. Let me explain my reasons why, though. First of all, it's brought back a Tekken 5 and Tekken 6 music. Okay? That was one of the things I was like the most happy about. It brought back like some amazing music from previous games into Tekken 7, and that's the thing I was the most excited for, first of all, without actually like seeing the character, that it would bring those songs back. And it has, and they're amazing. They're brilliant in Tekken 7. 2, the stage is super cool. The stage is actually a really, really good stage, and it has a load of little nuances. Like, if you see, I think it's Lee in the background. See, he sits on like a deck chair in the background. But if you choose to play him on that stage, he's not in the background anymore. I think that's so cool. Right? And, you know, the stage itself is really good too. It's a balcony break. There's a floor break. It's so good. It's so good. Just a great stage all around as well. It's relatively large for what it is. I really like that stage. And the third thing is the character itself. It's an original character. It's an original Tekken character. And it plays like a Tekken character. That's amazing. Like, she plays like a Tekken character. I'm surprised I have to say that. Like, it's not a guest character like Akuma or Geese or, you know, or Noctis, right? Yeah, but Kuni isn't an original character, Alex. Kuni was in Kuni was in Tekken games before this. Lydia is a completely new character, which is why she's so exciting, right? And Lydia she plays like a Tekken 5 character. There's something really comforting about that she plays like a Tekken 5 character. I don't know why, but it's just so good, right? The other thing about Lydia is that, good news, she didn't break the game on release. You take a look at Fakumram and Leroy, who broke the game on release, and then you take a look at Lydia, who's this perfectly fair character. Like, yes, this is the strategy that Tekken need to use, or Bandai Namco need to use moving forward. Because when they released Leroy and Fakumram, you could clearly see what the strategy was. It was, oh, let's create a character with a cool design, but let's make them top tier. So everyone has to get them, either to practice against them in training mode. So those people have to buy the DLC to either practice against them in training mode, or they have to play them, right? And that's the strategy they did with Leroy and Fakumram, and it really worked. But the fact of the matter is, that's really, really grimy, because what they did is they made 2 top tier characters to sell a DLC and then nerf them later. And that's just a really, really kind of grimy business practice, in my opinion. Right? Whereas Lydia came through, completely fair character, plays like a Tekken character, cool ass design with a cool ass stage and music. Everybody wants to buy the character because the character is just cool as hell, and the stage is cool as hell, and the music is cool as hell. That's what Bandai need to employ moving forward, because now we know, oh hey, they can actually make good DLC characters and DLC that people want to buy without having to make those characters top tier. And so, instead of just making top tier characters which you have to buy because, oh, I need to train against them, why not just make amazing characters which people just want to buy? You know, it's absolutely amazing. I love Lydia. Lydia's great. Let's go. More of that, Bandai Namco. More of that. Pretty please, more of that. Next up. But Kiryu, yeah. Like, sure, Kiryu and Tekken, let's get it. Fine, we'll take those. But this one. Nintendo and esports. Why does Pokemon, of all things, pop off? Right? So, there's been a massive thing with Nintendo and esports. In terms of supporting their scenes. They don't really like doing it. They really don't like doing it, especially with Smash. They don't like doing it with Smash, but also with the other competitive games like Splatoon and ARMS, those kind of games are also really grassroots, right? And Nintendo doesn't really support them either, right? Maybe more recently they've started getting back involved with Splatoon again, but like overall they try and stay hands off with these sorts of things. Which sucks because this competitive Splatoon community is absolutely amazing. Well then, Pokemon pops off because it's the highest grossing media franchise of all time. Next question. Well, that's true, but the thing is, Nintendo support it. And not just in one form. They run the Pokemon Regionals, Nationals, and Worlds. And provide prize pools for all of those. And there's 3 different tournaments included within each event. That's Pokemon TCG, Pokemon VGC, and Pokken tournaments. Right? And the thing is, they do it well. They run those events brilliantly. They've got 3 different age categories. They got 3 different age categories for people to play in. You know, their tournament structure is actually really good. From the nationals to regionals to the worlds. And it's just like, hell yes, why don't you do this for any other of your competitive games? Because you've shown you can do it for Pokemon. They've literally shown they know how to keep a competitive scene up and running well. But they don't do it for any other of their franchises. It's insane. Now, Warren was saying earlier, it's Pokemon, people will attend Pokemon, people know what Pokemon is, and Alex made a good counter-argument, which was, people know what Smash is. People absolutely know what Smash is, and that's the thing, is, like I said earlier, it's probably one of the biggest fighting games when it appears at EVO. It has the most entrants. It probably has, like, It has a lot more majors and big tournaments in comparison to a lot of other FGC events, just made by the community themselves. Like Smash specific events like Big House and Summit, you know. It's insane to me. Well then, because Pokemon is like the McDonald's and Coca-Cola. Smash is nothing compared to Pokemon. Sure, but like, the fact of the matter is they've shown they can do it. And because they've shown they can do it with Pokemon, and people are like, and people are really happy with how Nintendo is running Pokemon events, right? They should be able to do it for their other competitive franchises, but they choose not to. It's insane to me. Like, sure, people in the Smash community and the Splatoon community have been pushing Nintendo to help them for ages and ages and ages. And they just haven't done so. Whereas if the Pokemon community asks for something, bap, they're on it. Like, it's insane. It's insane. Right? And the thing is, smaller companies run bigger tournaments. Like Alex was saying, Arxis run the Arc Revo tour, you know, and that's pretty successful. It goes pretty good for them. And so, considering how big Nintendo is, they should be able to run multiple franchise competitive events. They should be able to run Pokemon. They should be able to run Smash. They should be able to run Splatoon. They have the resources. They have the know-how. They definitely have shown that they can do it. The only thing that they aren't actually doing is doing it. So we just need to make them do it. Simple as that. It's really hard, obviously, to make Nintendo do anything. But like, we again just have to keep pushing them. There's no other way to like convince them to do it otherwise. But what we can do is we can keep pushing them to try and help their communities. That's all you can really do. They probably won't, but there's nothing else we can do, and we just have to keep pushing them to try and do that. And like Alex was saying, Sega are starting Virtua Fighter esports. Like, sick, go for it. And the thing is, Sega is definitely a community-driven company, I think, anyway. Look at the interaction they have with the Sonic community, for example. Right? The amount of interaction they actually get with the Sonic community off of their Twitter account and allowing fans to make parodies and games and do speedruns and actually supporting that is insane. It's insane to me. I don't know. Right. Hot take, but Pokemon is the video game is a VTech esport. I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's like a perfectly fine take. I still enjoy it, but you know, everybody has their own opinions. Right. So, that means, next up, Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Rise of the Hand Trap. Effect Veiler, Ash Blossom, and so on. So, a couple of years ago, a rise of something called the combo format started, and this was off of the back of Link monsters. When Link monsters came in, this kind of combo-ish format really started. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Were like, oh hey, we don't want to destroy and ban all of our new cool monsters that we've just made in terms of links, right? Because literally links were a new thing. Links had just been made, they made a ton of new link monsters. And they were like, oh, we don't want to just release these cards and then ban them straight away because they're too strong. So what they did was they made hand traps. And they look something like this. One really good example of it is Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. And what it does is, when a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, you can discard this card and negate that effect. And obviously this card was really good at stopping the combo format, because within the combo format, it was just like, oh, here's a link monster, I activate its effect, here's another link monster, I activate its effect, here's another link monster, I activate its effect. And what you could do was just say no. And what that did was, that was really good, because at the time, within the combo format, a lot of combos couldn't be stopped by your regular traps, like Mirror Force or Magic Cylinder. Mainly because there were options to force your combo to work, kind of, right? It was just like, oh, if this gets targeted by something, then I can just loop the combo. Or if I get trapped, I'm going to use this card that isn't affected by trap cards. Or if I get hit by this card, I'm going to use this version of the combo that isn't affected by spells. Or something like that. Which is why Ash Blossom and Effect Veiler were so good. Because you played them from the hand. They weren't out on the field already. Like, normally when you place spell and trap cards, you have to place them on the field. And if they're on the field, they can be destroyed really easily. And normally, even before you started a combo, you would wipe the board. You would like, you'd see that the opponent had spell and trap cards on the field, and you'd be like, okay, I'm going to destroy your 2 face downs, and now I'm going to start my combo. But the reason why Ash Blossom was so good was because it was in the hand. And, you know, because it's in the hand, the opponent can't do anything about it being in the hand, right? All I hear is burst basing. We'll literally get onto that in 2 seconds. And the opponent can't do anything about that being in the hand. So you're just like, kind of like, no. But it also added another layer to the game. Because because now, you see the opponent with a card in hand, and you're about to start your combo, and you're like, I wonder if they have an Ash Blossom in their hand. Maybe I should do like a minor combo and try and bait it, you know? And try and make them use it for this minor combo so I can get my major combo later on. Or you could try and read the opponent, because like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an over-the-game table. You can try and look at the opponent and try and gauge whether they have that Ash Blossom or not. And that led to almost poker-like strategy, where you could kind of bluff having, you could bluff a combo, or you could try and read the opponent having an Ash Blossom or something. And that led to a lot of like really special interactions within the game, like a lot of player versus player actual interactions. Unfortunately, the combo players found a way around it. And how they did that is in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a rule called the timing rule. And the timing rule includes a couple of words, but the main ones are if and when. So normally a card effect has one of those two words on it. Normally it says, so for example, Ash Blossom has when on it. And so what they could do is, when you have when cards, is as soon as the thing that happens on the when card occurs, that effect happens immediately after it. So when a card effect is activated, that includes any of these effects, you can discard this card. So when that card is activated, then you can straight away activate this. There's no timing in between where they can activate anything else. This is the card that would have to go next because it's a when card. There's no time in between those two infractions, right? Between the opponent activating effect and you throwing out Ash Blossom. There's no time in between that. However, an if card, you can, if something happens, then you can choose to activate it. And that's what people did with combo decks. They kind of did, oh, here's my when card, here's my when card, here's my when card. Are you about to tell me that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are like lawyers and will use your words against you? Yes, that's exactly what I'm about to tell you. So combo players just realized, oh hey, what we can do is just use a bunch of when cards, and then there's no time in between them to play Ash Blossom. Or what they could also do is try and bait you into using your Ash Blossom by playing an if card. And you would see that they played an if card, and you'd be like, oh, I have time to play Ash Blossom. And you'd play Ash Blossom, and you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna Ash this effect that says if on it. And the opponent could say, well, wait, I haven't actually activated it yet, and you've just wasted your Ash Blossom. So the timing rule literally had to be reworked to suit the combo format. Because like Alex said, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players used your words against you, right? So now, literally after every effect you do, you have to ask, okay, does this go through? Here's another effect, does this go through? Here's another effect, are you going to do anything? Here's another effect, are you going to do anything? And that's what we have to do now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? But the time before people like abused the kind of timing of cards was really, really cool, because you got into like a meta within a meta, like within the other person and you playing, and also it was I'm trying to think about what I want to say here. It was really kind of not interesting, but you had to do a lot of research, right? Because you had to know the right time to Ash Blossoms out of combos. So you had to do like a lot of pre-game learning, which is like really cool. I think that upped the skill cap of Yu-Gi-Oh! By a lot, because you might be playing against a deck which you have to Ash Blossom it at the start of their combo. You might be playing against a deck where you have to Ash Blossom it at the third or fourth part of their combo. You might have to be Ash Blossoming it at the end of a deck combo. And you had to do a lot of learning. And I think that really raised the skill cap of Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot, because first of all, now you can do, trying to bait Ash Blossoms. Now it's about reading opponents. Now it's about doing research on the meta before games to find out where you can Ash Blossom and see how much you can remember. You know? I thought that was such a cool, like, little thing in the system, and now that's kind of gone because of the having to be polite and ask, are you going to do anything after this? Are you going to do anything after this? Are you going to do anything after this? Sort of thing, right? So it was kind of a really fun format. Yeah, it kind of had to go through. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying, Alex. But yeah, it was really interesting for that format at the time it was around. But after that, it just got really kind of upsetting to see, Yu-Gi-Oh! Keep going with this combo-based format and just keep pushing the game to that snowbally level, which we have today. It's really unfortunate. But, yeah. Next up, we are going to be talking about Magic the Gathering Arena or in real life Magic. What do Wizards of the Coast want to do going forward? Alex, that's a good point in the chat you've made. It sounds like it would extend games way too hard, and at that point Handlock becomes too hard to play right because they just need to burst bait, and you have to know exactly where and when to burst for potentially hundreds of setups. Yeah. But I kind of liked that planning or research phase before a tournament where you had to learn what people were playing in the area and try and learn stuff, I would kind of really like that. But let's move on. Magic the Gathering Arena or IRL Magic? What do Wizards of the Coast want to do moving forward? So a lot of people will know Magic the Gathering. It's one of the big three of the card game universe. Within Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! So, Magic, in terms of IRL Magic, is still going very, very strong. But, I can't remember when Magic the Gathering Arena released. Let me check it. So, 27th September 2018. Right? So it came out 3 years ago, right? And it's blown up a lot, especially in, I think Japan, it's blown up quite a lot. So what do Magic want to do going forward? Do they want to support IRL tournaments? Or do they want to support Magic the Gathering Arena? Because they are literally the same game. It's the same cards. You still purchase packs with IRL money. And you still play the game the exact same way. Now, I think in 2019, Magic the Gathering Arena, I thought Wizards of the Coast was going to push Magic the Gathering Arena a lot more, because they did this massive, creator tournament with, Dan Ball and the Yogscast and, a couple of other content creators stacked onto it. And they made it look super professional, and it looked like a really, really solid esports event, overall. And they've kept going with that over time. And especially during COVID, Magic the Gathering Arena has been gaining a lot more traction, as we've been obviously indoors. But it's interesting to think about. Now Wizards of the Coast have these 2 iterations of Magic, and they're still trying to support both of them, even though it's the exact same game. Now, my assumption would be that they're going to support IRL Magic, with the actual cards sitting across the table from each other and actually playing it. But I know Wizards of the Coast have been on like kind of the esports route of things, where they've been like getting professional shoutcasters and making streams look really cool for Magic the Gathering Arena. And it's really interesting to think about. I actually don't know what they're going to do. I know they're definitely going to bring back the Magic World Tour in some form, but are they also going to run 2 different tournaments? Are they going to run a Magic the Gathering Arena tournament and a regular Magic tournament, even though it's literally the exact same game? And the metas are going to be the same in both games? Like, the thing is that the fact of the matter is there's no difference between the 2. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do going forward. Because I'm not sure myself whether they're going to stream the IRL cards, or if they're going to run 2 streams or something like that, right? I feel like if they wanted to support the online version, they should find a way to sync your online collection to your offline collection through codes or booster packs, or them cards themselves, or something. And that's literally what they do with Pokemon TCG Online, where you have codes within the packs that you type into PTCGO, and you get that pack in the online game. But you also have the IRL cards. But the thing is, Pokemon don't play TCGO. Pokemon play Pokemon TCG, that actual card game, instead of the online game. Because in the online game, you can go through like a ranked mode and get free booster packs and stuff like that. So I guess that's why they choose to go for the actual TCG, because the value of cards IRL is a lot more than the value of cards trading cards in the game, because you can get cards for free in the online game, which is the same with Magic the Gathering Arena. You can get cards for free in Magic the Gathering Arena. So I do think they're going to go ahead with Magic the Gathering in terms of offline play with actual cards on the table, but they have been on that kind of esports run recently. So the future is going to be really interesting to see for Magic the Gathering in general. I'm really excited to see what's in store for Wizards of the Coast. Okay, next up. A different win condition in card games. So I know this is like the card game section right now, but we will get back to fighting games, don't worry. So a lot of card games, on almost every card game on the market, your win condition is based on life. This is like, will it kill KOF block? It really is. So I'm just going to open up the rule set, because I forget how much Ember is. So in a lot of card games, the win condition is to deplete opponent's life, right? So in Magic the Gathering, you have to deplete your opponent's 20 health. In Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to deplete opponent's life points. For example, Brandon saying Bushy Road, But Vanguard is also a health system. If you lose 6, if you know, you get hit with 6 attacks and you lose 6 health, then you lose. It's still a health-based win condition, you know? So, almost every TCG on the market is based on depleting opponents' health. And this is where Keyforge makes a change. The goal in Keyforge is to, as you can imagine, forge 3 keys. Right? And this makes Keyforge a really self-centered game, because it's not about defeating your opponent, it's about getting to an objective the fastest. Right? You're still playing against your opponent, but this is almost like a race. Instead of like a battle, right? If that makes sense. So, in this game, how to win is, like I said, forge 3 keys. But how you forge keys is by getting Amber, and you need 6 of these like Amber gold nuggets to form a key, and you need 3 keys to win. And so, how you get Amber is by playing cards. And so, if you play a card, you can get an Amber for doing that. Or some cards have certain abilities on them which can let you gain Amber. Or, you know, using this mechanic called reaping, where if you turn a creature sideways and make it not active for the rest of the turn, you can also gain an Ember. Right? And I think that's really, really cool, because it integrates a ton of strategy. Because now, instead of thinking, oh, I need to get all of my opponent's monsters off the field so I can deal damage to them, now your decision making is, oh, do I choose to not attack this turn and reap so I can get Amber for myself? Or do I attack my opponent's monsters and destroy my opponent's monsters to prevent them from reaping the next turn? Right? And I absolutely love this concept. Keyforge is so cool, and more people need to play it. I would love to play Keyforge with any of you all if you do play Keyforge. But we need more card games like Keyforge with cool ass win conditions. Right? Instead of just, oh, depleting life. Even Pokemon is a life system, right? You have 3 life you need to take off of the opponent. Well, you have 6 prize cards that you need to take off of the opponent. Sorry, not life. 6 prize cards that you need to take off of the opponent, and each prize card can be like equivalent to 1 life, right? That's what I was trying to say. And with Vanguard, each card you put in the damage zone is equivalent to 1 life. And so it's still life. And this game doesn't have any life at all. It's so cool, right? I absolutely love Keyforge because it has this really cool win condition that no other card game on the market has, and I really think more card games need to be creative like this and have cool win conditions. Hello Cars, by the way. Welcome to the stream. So, yeah. I really do think there needs to be more games like Keyforge in the TCG community. I really think it's super cool. So my final one for this DANCHAT, which I planned, was, can you look up to top players in TCGs the same way that you do in the FGC? So now, in the FGC, you might have a top player you look up to. Whether that's you know, oh, hey, this top player plays my character and I want to play like them, or can you look up to a certain play style? So like, oh, I really appreciate this top player's really defensive play style, right? And you want to play like them. So I think you really can look up to top players in TCGs the same way that you do in the FGC. And I'm going to show you why. And I'm going to talk about my favourite TCG player, Johnny Nguyen. I absolutely love him. And there's a reason he's my favourite player. So, Johnny's been playing since 2008. And he plays my favourite deck, Light Swans. And you can say he's played like a varied number of decks over the years. But you can see that, isn't it fan out something like New YN? I think so. I don't really know, but he is absolutely my favourite player in Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is why. So back in 2008, Light Swans were actually pretty meta. And first of all, you can actually see TCG card prices going up just from this list. Look at £76, 409 in February of 2020. You seeing that? Usually when a deck is good, lots of people play it and less loyalty. Yes, but this is why Johnny is my favourite player. So back in 2008, Light Swans were actually pretty strong. And you can see it from the list over here. So you can see Light Swans, Johnny played it, Russell Rothman played Light Swans, Ben Jaffe played Light Swans. You know. So Light Swans were pretty strong back in the day. And so he played them at this 2008, that's fine. But then in 2016 he goes back to 50 card Light Swans after going off and playing like a couple of meta picks. He goes off and comes back to play 50 card Light Swans in 2016. And I want you to look at this list and see if there's like a single Light Swan player here. The answer is no. There's not a single Light Swans player here. Do you know where he placed? Top 8. With a deck that nobody else placed top 8 with. Almost 6 years after Light Swans were meta. What an amazing deck builder. Then he plays one kind of off-meta deck. He doesn't place very well with it. And then, do you know what? He goes back to zombie Light Swans. He goes back to his Light Swans. He adds in something. He mixes it up. And in April 2017, guess what? Nobody's playing zombies. Nobody's playing Light Swans. He makes top 8. With an altered version of this deck he had almost a year ago. And then, do you know what? He does it again in May. And he expands on the 60 card zombie Light Swans and turns it into a 60 card Predaplant zombie Light Swans. He keeps expanding on it. And again, this is in a meta where nobody is playing this deck, and he still places top 8. And then in February of 2018, he comes back to Light Swords. Right? Again, he places top 8. And then recently, again, in October of 2019, right, he places 6th place with Shaddoll Chaos Lightsworn. That's almost 10 years apart than when he first started playing Lightsworns. Right? That is over 10 years apart from when he started playing Lightsworns. And he's still placing 6th with a variation of the deck. Right? In a meta, again, where nobody is playing this deck. It's absolutely insane. And look at the consistency in his placements. Top 8, top 8, okay, top 32, top 8, top 8, top 8, top 8. Like, he sticks to a deck he likes. He expands and plays a deck that almost no one else plays in a current meta and still makes it work. And then is consistent at almost every tournament he goes to. He's absolutely my favorite player for his deck building, his amazing deck building skill, and his, like, loyalty to the decks he enjoys playing. I find it absolutely insane. Like, you can see even here in March 2016, he played Cosmos, got top 8, and then 4 years later in 2020, he still plays Cosmos and places 5th. Right? It's absolutely insane. Like, his loyalty to the archetypes he enjoys playing and being able to deck build to make them work in a current meta, even though they shouldn't, and then still place in the top 8 of almost every tournament he goes to. That's why he's my favorite player. That's why I look up to him. And so I absolutely do think you can look up to players in the same way that you do in the FGC, because, you know, there are players in the TCG who play a very aggressive style of deck. There are the FGC players who play really aggressive. There are TCG players who are dedicated to playing stall and defensive types of decks. There are players in the FGC who are dedicated to playing defensive. There are players in TCGs that create these kind of really wild creative deck building strategies. And there are people in the FGC who also does that, who also do that as well, that create like wild new creative strategies for a certain character or certain, you know, and I absolutely think you can look up to top players in TCGs. And like I said, that's why Johnny's my absolute favorite. But I absolutely think you can look up to top players in TCGs. But you guys had a pretty good conversation about it in the chat. You guys had a really cool talk about it in the chat as well. About fighting games and TCG players and looking up to them. So I think that's really cool that people are even talking about it. That's what DANCHAT is all about. It's about starting conversation. and giving my opinion. So I hope you enjoyed that point in particular, because I could see a lot of people in the chat talking about that one. So let's move on. Ghosts from the past. Oh, okay, you have a question, Brandon. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just like if there are a bunch of locals everywhere that were tournaments every once in a while. Usually they're run by card shops in the area who get selected. Yes, you can apply to be part of like a YCS circuit or a TCG circuit, yes. If you're a card game store, card game local, you can apply, yeah. But, oh, let me head back. There we go. Ghosts from the past. So this is probably the most controversial set in Yu-Gi-Oh! This year. And, I opened these the other day on stream. And so let's talk about why it's a controversial set. So Ghosts from the Past is really a collector's set. It really, really, really is. Because what it is a bunch of old cards with the new cool rarities. And the thing is, what dictates the price of cards on the secondary market in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the meta. All Yu-Gi-Oh! Players care about is, like, meta cards. Is it meta? Is it a good card? Is it being used in every single deck? Is it a card that's really good but is short printed? You know? That's what dictates the price of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is it meta? Is it, how many decks is it being used in? And are there a lot of copies of it? If there aren't a lot of copies of it, it's going to be worth more. If it's being used in every deck, it's going to be worth more. You know? And so that's what the secondary market in Yu-Gi-Oh! Cares about a lot of the time. It's the meta. It's like, what's going on in competitive play in Yu-Gi-Oh! And the reason why Ghost of the Past was so controversial is because that it had no meta cards in it. It had none of these like really, really strong, you know, cards that are being used in competitive play in these decks. But it's still a box that's being sold at £20 a pop. So it's going to be really, really, really hard to get your money back. Or even get your money back at all. It's just a bunch of old cards that nobody uses anymore with the new rarities. And collector's sets obviously don't do that well on the secondary market because they're not meta. However, it's the complete opposite in Pokemon. You take a look at the secondary market in Pokemon, it's like, oh hey, there's this old card that can't be used in competitive play anymore, but looks super, super cool. And that's the card that gets 100, 200, 300 pounds. And then the cards that are meta can go for 20, 30, 40 pounds. Like, that's what Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be doing. That's how Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be. Every single card game should be like this. The old cards that are like 1996, that are good condition but still look cool, and you can't even use them in the meta anymore. They're just for recreational purposes, right? They're worth a ton because people have kept those cards for ages and kept them in good condition, so they should be worth a lot of money. And the meta cards being cheap allow everyone, no matter how on a budget they are, allow everyone to become a part of the competitive Pokemon card game community, right? However, with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's the opposite. It's almost like gatekeeping by money. It's like, oh hey, I love Yu-Gi-Oh. I love these like the designs of these old cards. They're pretty cheap. I want to go competitive in this game. And then you look at the card prices for competitive cards on the secondary market, and you're just like, oh, I don't have the money for this. And the thing is, even if you had the money to play in one meta of Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to do it again for the next meta. Going back to Yu-Gi-Oh top decks, this one, you can see average price $500, $750, $500, $839, $1,000, $1,100, $1,050, $600. Like, these are the prices of the top 12 decks in the past 6 months since the latest tournament. Like, sure, you can buy a deck for £500 maybe this month, but what about in a few months' time when there's a new ban list and a new meta comes out? Now you have to pay $500 again for a new competitive deck. Like, why is it like this? Why isn't it like Pokemon, where your competitive decks can be bought for like $100? You know? Like, I understand why the old cards are worth that much, because they've been kept for a long time and they've been kept in good condition, and it takes a lot of work to keep a card that old in good condition and still looking good. That's why it's worth that much money. It completely makes sense. Right? And it completely makes sense why the new cards are cheap, because that means new players can get into the competitive side of the community. But you take a look at this, and it's the complete opposite. And why? Like, it's so dumb. Like, literally, this is why I don't play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. I don't have the money for it. Right? It's absolutely insane to me. Like, how? Gotta get a mortgage for some paper with dragons on them, literally. And the thing is, you take a look at really old cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, from like maybe 2005, 2004, you try and get one of those, they're omega cheap. There's probably a plan in place that's like, why try and get the new people in when we can just milk the whales for cash? Question about legality. Could you print a card in as long? No. So Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Actually, let me grab one. This one. So let's take this card right here. I'll switch to this. So in Yu-Gi-Oh cards, not sure if you see that, but there's this little thing on the bottom, this little gold stamp. That's what determines how a card is legal. And it also has a little number on the bottom with a first edition by the side. I'm not even sure if you can like actually see that. Anyway, there's a little number over there. And there's this little thing over here. So no, you can't print cards because of that number over there and the stamp. So no, you can't print cards. Yeah, okay, but I mean, like, a load of people are going to be forced to leave scene when offline Yu-Gi-Oh is back because they can't afford. Yu-Gi-Oh has always been offline. There's never been an official online Yu-Gi-Oh simulator, cars. So, you know, that is the number one reason why people have left the scene. It's because it's too much money. Yu-Gi-Oh don't host online events. Konami don't host official online events. Cars. What online events look like is they do this thing. Yeah, but grassroots TOs do. Yeah, but no one cares about grassroots TOs. Like, no one cares about grassroots TOs in Yu-Gi-Oh. If it's genuinely cars, no one cares. If it's not a tournament where it's a Konami sponsored tournament, you know, people won't care. Like cars, right? Do you remember Duel Dojo? I could barely get 16 people to come and play in that bracket. And I know a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players. I could barely get 16 people to come and play in that bracket. We didn't even reach cap for that tournament. And I know so many Yu-Gi-Oh players. Right? People don't care about grassroots TOs in Yu-Gi-Oh. They don't. And you know why? Because half the time, I'm lucky my tournament was quite small, right? But why grassroots TOs don't run online tournaments is because, let's say I went onto Dueling Book and I ran a 128-man online tournament for Dueling Book. And it reached the cap. Konami sees that tournament, and then, next thing you know, Dueling Book gets a cease and desist. TOs don't want to jeopardize these cool fan creations, right? Just do the P+ thing of saying it's raw. But they literally can't. You literally can't, because you have to use the same cards, right? Like, you literally can't, because there's no official Yu-Gi-Oh! Online simulator. So you can't even compare it to a game you guys made. You can't style it the same. Light wizard. But yeah. Just go full Chinese knockoff version. We can try. But yeah, that's why grassroots TOs don't run online tournaments, because they're scared that their favorite online simulators would get shut down. So yeah. Next up, Alex. Guess what? You're on DANCHAT. There you go. Follow that to Alex on Twitter. Type Lumina, baby! Woo! Let's go! Oh my god. Shiki, Arc, Akia, CL, confirmed. Rollback, confirmed. It happened. What can I say? It happened. Like, it actually happened, chat. And Tsukihime. It happened, chat. I can't explain how happy I am. Cars, there was smash news at the start of this DANCHAT. It was literally the first topic. So you came in a bit late, but we talked about this earlier on. But yeah, new Melty. Oh my god. I am so happy. You don't understand. Let's go. Dude. There's nothing else to say. Like, there's actually nothing else to say. Melty is here. Melty is back. Let's go. You might get into Melty now it's on PC. Melty has always been on PC cards. What excuse me? You can literally play current code and act cadenza on your PC right now, cars. You can even play original Melty on your PC right now. You don't have to jump through. There's like literally no loops. You literally go to the mega link and download it. You literally just download it. That's it. You download it and you have Melty on your PC. Like, that's it. Okay, well, if you come into the SIG server after DANCHAT, cars, one of the guys can help you out. But new Melty, baby. Like, I don't even know what else to say. I'm just so happy. Like, new Tsukihime, new Melty. Yeah. Let's go, baby. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I am going to, like, purchase the Omega Deluxe Golden Premium Bundle at the highest price if there is one. Yeah, let's go. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm just so happy. There's nothing else to say. Okay, so next up, I tweeted this yesterday. So, okay, Dan, I have a point for you real quick. Okay, what is it, Alex? Alex, what is it? Alex, what is it? Don't hold the gun at me. What is it, Alex? Alex, what is it? Sprites versus 3D models? Give me the sprites. Give me the sprites. I want the sprites. Is that question you wanted answered? Yeah, I want sprites. That's it. Anyway. So I posted this yesterday. So if you don't know, a couple of days ago, there was a massive controversy about this thing called the Super League in football. And what it was like 12 of the biggest clubs in football choosing to go off and make their own, like, top tier league. Where they'd be confirmed to have a spot in it every year. So there's no promotion relegation system. They just need to pay to get into the league, and then they have a spot in it every single year. So, like I said, no promotion, no relegation, absolutely nothing. And so I saw this video from Sky Sports, where Pep Guardiola, who's the manager of Manchester City, shared his thoughts on this, and a quote that came out of that interview was, "It is not sport if it doesn't matter if you lose." And I thought, oh hey, this really, really applies to stuff like the LEC and the Overwatch League as well. So the LEC is the top competition for League of Legends, right? Sorry, I was just reading chat. But the LEC is the top level of European play for League of Legends. And to be a part of the LEC, you need to pay to get a spot in the LEC. What really ticked me off about that is before the LEC became like the LEC branded thing, right? That actually used to be like a tournament structure in terms of divisions, where smaller teams could rank up through divisions and get to the top level of European play. And one of my favourite teams back in the day used to be called the Unicorns of Love. And what happened is that they got kicked out of the LEC because even though they were playing well every year, they were off meta, they were just like a group of buddies trying to play some good League of Legends, they got kicked out of the LEC because they didn't have the money to buy a franchise slot. And that's really upsetting, and it got me thinking, like, is this something we really want? Like, say, I don't know, a group of friends is working really hard to become a competitive League of Legends team, you know? They're like, oh, we're just a group of 5 buddies, we want to go competitive in League of Legends, you know, and we've been playing well. And so they win a ton of online tournaments, they go play in their country's league and come first in their country's league, and, you know, overall they're just doing really, really well. And so they're like, oh hey, LEC, you're the top level of European play for League of Legends, right? And they're like, yeah, we are. And so this group of friends that have been winning the tournaments in their country, they're like, well, we're winning all the tournaments in their country, and we feel like we can play some of these guys at the top level of play, right? We can play some of these teams at the top level of play and do well. We think we deserve that opportunity because we've been playing absolutely brilliantly and we've been winning all the tournaments in our country. So I feel like we deserve a spot. And what the LEC does is they're like, do you have money? And they're like, no, we're just a group of friends who play really good League of Legends. And the LEC is like, well, no. That's dumb. Right? That's dumb. Because you could have the single best team in, like, you might have the single best team in the world, but because you're playing with your 4 other best friends, you're not allowed to play at Worlds. You could literally be playing SK Telecom in scrims and beating them, but you won't be allowed to play in Worlds because you don't have the money. That's dumb. We're watching Worlds to see which team is the best in the world. We're watching the LEC to see which team is the best in Europe. And with this franchise format, we don't get to see that. Right? With this franchise format, we don't actually get to see who is the best in Europe. Because maybe there's like a really, really good team of friends, like I said earlier, that are just a group of friends. They're doing the best in their country and doing well. And they're probably the best in Europe, but they're not allowed to play the rest of the teams in Europe because they don't have the money for a franchise slot. That's dumb. That's so... I feel like that's so dumb. I'm not sure if that's just me. I feel like that's awful. I feel like that's an awful way of doing things. Competition should be about who's the best. It shouldn't be about which team has the most money. And that's what the LEC and the OWL make it. We don't get to see the best teams or the best players in the world. They're probably hidden away somewhere in, like, I don't know, Austria or something. Probably never going to be able to come out of the shadows because they don't have the money to do so. And that's really upsetting that we probably won't be able to see the best team in the world. That's it. That's my take. I feel like there absolutely needs to be a structured pyramid league for stuff like the LEC and the OWL. But it probably won't happen because, you know, the franchises who are in the leagues make money and the company that are running the league make money. So they probably won't do it. But for me, competitive play is about who's the best, and with this we can't see that. So that's it. Next up. Wait, the stream sucks because you didn't play the multi-trailer on stream. For goodness sake, Alex. We've already gone a full topic past Melty, and now you're bringing it back. We have a lot to get through today, dude. Okay? I've been speaking for 2 hours. Okay. Let's go on. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! And the autopilot system. Why you don't need this sort of content. So I'm going to open up 2 tabs. We're going to look at this one first. So, Team APS are a pretty big Yu-Gi-Oh! Content channel, Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creation. So, they released a tweet 2 days ago, which said, a big area that's lacking in Yu-Gi-Oh! Content space is educational content, targeted towards players looking to improve their game sense, fundamentals, and decision making. These are important parts of the competitive play experience that don't get talked about enough. We have plenty of deck profiles, plenty of combo videos, and loads of tournament analysis. It's all valuable content that I don't want to undermine. But surprisingly, I don't see much content that focuses on how to be a stronger Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. Some examples. How do you use S&T removal against control decks? If you have a Cosmic Cyclone, for instance, do you hit the known face-up threat? Do you hit set cards? How do you read the game state and decide? Does this change from early to late game? What are the other key factors? When presented with multiple hand traps, how do you decide the types of cards and place to use them against, and in what order? Do I always ash the first search card I see? Generally, how do I determine the high versus low priority? What if I have Ash and Roll or Ash and Veiler? You know? How do I play around hand traps? What cards can be used as baits? And so on. He keeps going for a pretty long while. Right. Okay, so you've seen this. Simply just read. Read that. I want you, chat, to read that. Perceive it. A couple more seconds. I'll give you some time to read that. We don't need this. We don't need this because of this. We don't need any of this because we have this. We don't even need any of this because we don't get to the point in Yu-Gi-Oh! In the game where we can apply any of this because this occurs. Do you understand why we don't need this sort of content? We don't need this sort of content because this exists. Like, why would you ever need that sort of content when this exists? Right? Surely I'm right here. If you don't get to the point in the game where you can actually apply any of this stuff, you don't need it. Exactly. When the decks play themselves, why would you need to be fundamentally better? Yeah, literally, you learn your one main combo, and that is all you'll need. That is it. And the thing is, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a closed game system, right? There's rules in place. So there's always a best play for every situation. But the thing is, the game plays itself. You can do the optimal thing in every single situation, but it doesn't matter. Because this occurs. So you know like the flowchart Ken memes, the Street Fighter flowchart Ken memes, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! If this occurs, do this. If this occurs, do this. If this occurs, do this. I can make a video on this. But shall I tell you how long it'd take? It'd take one 10-minute video to explain all of this. I wouldn't be able to do anything past one video on this. Right? Oh, someone can make a series out of this. Right? No, they can't, because I can literally tell you every single thing about what you're saying in here in 10 minutes and tell you the best option for every situation. And if you don't have that option, you have to deal with it. This tweet in particular, a deck profile is great to get a list from, yeah, and start playing with. Learning to repeat a combo is vital. I'm going to highlight that word, vital, for winning. So let's just say repeating combos are vital for winning, right? You have to know them in order to win. And combo videos already exist, by the way. They're the main thing you need to know. Using the word vital shows that it's the main thing you need to know. But what happens when you're forced into a grind situation and your fundamentals are tested? Okay, when you're forced into a grind situation and your fundamentals are tested, they're your fundamentals. When you learn the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you learn your fundamentals. It isn't like a fighting game where you have to pick up a character and learn neutral. You learn about your fundamentals. You learn about your fundamentals as soon as you learn the rules of the game. Your fundamentals are the rules of the game. Like, come on, man. We don't need any of this bullshit content when you're saying, oh, repeating a combo is vital for winning, and then this occurs. He's clearly taking your advice in looking at, oh, the combo videos are vital for winning. If the combo videos are vital for winning, then you don't need anything else. That's my opinion. The content's already there. The content to learn and improve is already there. You learn your fundamentals through playing the game. Through, like, literally picking up the cards. It literally says, like, every single card says what it does on it. If you're in a fundamental grind-based situation, all you need to do is read the goddamn card. It's so, I don't know, it seems so simple in my mind. Maybe it's not as simple in Team APS's mind, but, like, I don't know. Let's talk about UFL. So we're going to open up these three. Tabs. So if you don't know, UFL was the first Tekken tournament that occurred offline in since COVID occurred. And I want you to look at this. This is absolutely stacked. So going into it, looking at this, the groups, I was like, these are stacked. And top 4 went through from each group. And I'm going to give you my original predictions because I wrote them down. My original predictions were, from Group A, were Arslan, Buck, Saint, and Asim. And for Group B, my picks were JDCR, Fergus, Honey, and Bilal. So those were my picks originally. And it was an absolutely amazing tournament. With Arslan coming out on top, Honey in second, JDCR in third, Saint in fourth, our boy Fergus in fifth, let's go, Kuiper in fifth, Daniel Mardo in 7th and Kira Kira in 7th. Was absolutely amazing. Was absolutely amazing tournament to watch. It was broadcasted beautifully with some great Tekken commentators, and I really liked the kind of heart rate monitors on the players as well. However, betting in the FGC. So, if you didn't know, UFL is done by Replay Esports. And Replay Esports in itself is owned by a sports betting company. And I don't know how I feel about that in the FGC. Like, I'm fine with, like, money matches and stuff, obviously, because money matches are between the two players themselves, and they agree upon that within themselves. But I don't want esports to go, or fighting games to go so corporate that we have to have bets, you know? Like, the things like Salty Bet are funny, because it's like Mugen, and it's not actual humans playing, you know, it's just like AIs and stuff. And that's pretty funny. That's funny to bet on. But, like, you can't bet on actual FGC players the same way you do athletes. Because, say you're betting on a boxing fight, you can look at both fighters' heights, you can look at their wingspans, you can have a look at their record, you can have a look at their titles that they've won, and make a judgment call. Pretty simply, because all of that is shown on the stream. All of that is shown by the producers during the fight. Like, you know their record against each other, you know their overall record of all time, you know how many championships, you know heights, you know wingspans, you know weights, and that's all shown during the event, right, on this big screen, and that allows you to make a educated bet, right? You can't do that with fighting games because, you know, first of all, a lot of those things don't matter. Like, the main things you would look at for boxing, like weight and wingspan, height, weight, and wingspan, they don't matter in the FGC, obviously, right? They don't matter at all, which is part of the reason I love esports, because anybody can do it. But that's one of the main things you'd place your bet on if you were, like, betting on a boxing fight. You'd have a look at the heights and weights and wingspans, and you'd be like, oh, okay, this guy has a longer wingspan and is heavier and is a bit taller, so he's probably going to be able to keep the opponent out a bit more, and he's probably going to have more staying power. And with that, you can make an educated bet. But with this, you can't, because, you know, those stats don't matter. The other thing is knowing records against each other. Say Arslan Ash went up against Book in the UFL, right? Do they show on stream their record against each other? Do they show the titles they've won? Each of the competitors have won? You know? Do they show their overall record of all time? Have they competed in multiple different Tekken games? You know? These are not things that are shown on screen during the UFL stream. And so therefore you can't make an educated decision on a bet unless you're really, really, really into the FGC. right? So that's why I don't want betting in like esports, right? Because you can't like, well, especially in fighting games, because you can, but you can make an educated bet, but it's just like you need to know the information, and on the stream they don't show that information. It doesn't take much googling to find Liquipedia, right? But yeah, exactly. But the thing is, fighting game players know about Liquipedia, right? Players who are tuning in and want to make, like, people who are tuning in like it's a fighting game and want to make a quick buck, they're not gonna, search up, oh, what is Book's record? Because they're gonna expect to see it shown on the stream. And it's not shown on the stream. Honestly, none of what this part matters because of what the gambling company is. Yeah, exactly. But I just wanted to make a point that even if you did want to bet on, fighting games, it's not as safe as betting on an actual fight. And, an actual sporting event. But yeah, just gambling in the FGC is for me. Okay. Go ahead, Alex. Yeah, your fault if you lost your entire life savings. But I know, I don't know why. I personally feel like a little bit uncomfortable with it. You're coping really hard. On my side of things, it seems completely fine. So it might be on your end there, Alex. Unfortunately. It's your end. Okay, good. But yeah. There was that, and I also quickly wanted to talk about this. This is not about UFL, but it happened at the same time as UFL, and I wanted to look at this. I feel like I don't understand the FGC anymore. I used to think the main goal was to play the games competitively. I.e., try to improve at them, and that's what separates us from random Joe who mashes XOXO with Eddie and Tekken and finds this satisfying. U1000, and Giuna says, as always, being the based man he is, you 1000% do not need to be good, competitive, or care about improving to be a part of the FGC. And I completely agree with this sentiment. As long as you just have fun with your buddies, like, as long as you enjoy playing fighting games with your buddies, you're part of the FGC. Like, literally, the way that most people get into the FGC is by having fun and mashing buttons with their friends, and then they realize, hey, I actually enjoy this, maybe I'm gonna learn some things, But it doesn't matter if you want to learn things or not. As long as you enjoy mashing buttons with your buddies, then that's completely fine, Oh, that guy is unhinged, yeah. I didn't want to say that. I wanted to keep it in context of the FGC, but yeah. Yeah, he's pretty unhinged. But yeah, you can completely have fun games and just enjoy playing games with your buddies. You don't need to be competitive at all. That's it. That's the entire take. Okay, I want to show you one of my favorite events, one of my favorite things that happened in UFL. Yeah, if you enjoy something about a fighting game and have some investment, you're FGC. So I'm actually going to pause the music for this because I want you to appreciate this clip in its entirety. And for me, this really hit home. This like sparked another thing about why I love the FGC. So I'm just going to have you watch this. I'm gonna make it a bit louder. There you go. That should be good for you.
And Fergus has made it into top 8. Oh yeah! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, bruv! But did I tell you? Didn't I tell you, bro? Yeah? I told you. You're the top player in Europe. You deserve to be here and you're in top 8 now. I told you.
I love that clip. I love that clip. That is one of my favorite clips I've seen in terms of fighting games in the past like few years, actually. That hit me hard. Like, that's a video that reminds me of why I love the FGC. I really, really love that clip. And that clip, this is why it's a subtopic under UFL, because that clip was from UFL. And despite it being a big organization running this tournament, you know, despite it being like a big organization, a betting company running this tournament, they will never take away that feeling of the FGC from that clip. Like, yeah, that's what it's all about for me. There was another tweet in reference to this. So King J, who's a big tech and content creator, King J London, UK Tekken 7 content creator. The production levels from We Play UFL Tekken 7 tournament has been set to a new level for the FGC. And then FGC Adam said, I hope not. There's a major difference in resources available between grassroots events and esports extravaganzas. Failing to recognize that is like assuming a local ice cream parlor should have McDonald's money. I think that we should properly set expectations before demanding. right? The thing is, right, sure, the production was really good, but no matter whether if it's a grassroots event or if it's Evo or if it's a big tournament with big developer money, or if it's a tournament like UFL, you will never take the spirit of the FGC away from this clip.
Let's go. It is the top 8. Oh, yeah.
You will never take the spirit of the FGC away from that. No matter what tournament it is, whether it's a grassroots, small local tournament, whether it's a big Evo, whether it's a big sponsored tournament, this will always happen. And that's what the FGC is. It's not about making big production values. It's not about, you know, getting big prize pools. It's not about anything like that. It's about this. It's about that feeling. And that's going to be at every single event. This feeling is going to be at every single event. No matter whether it's big or small. That's it. That's it. I just wanted to show you that clip because that clip makes me really, really happy. The new standard tweet pisses me off because it's extremely dismissive of the effort that went into the production at CB, CEO, Taku, CEO, and Frosty Frostings. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And the thing is, I don't care about the production value of events. As long as we get moments like this, that's what makes me tune in and watch. It's the games, it's the feeling of playing well and being proud, and the emotion of having fun and enjoying the FGC. Yeah. But yeah, that's enough of that. I'm going to keep that tweet because keep that tweet up because I'm going to be talking about Let's End on a Good Note in a second. But the post-mortem phase, keeping old games alive. We've kind of talked about this a little bit in previous DANCHATs, but ages ago, Max made a tweet saying, I literally made a career off of old dead games. If this is the end of DBFZ, because there's no more DBFZ updates, they've officially said that there aren't going to be any more updates for DBFZ. And there is actually no DBFZ 2. There will always be an extremely hardcore fan base dedicated to that one game they kicked ass at. Harness that kinship and make a community out of it. 100%. Like, have a look at MVC3. Like, have a look at UMVC3. Still going strong. Have a look at Third Strike on Fightcade. There's probably 300, 400 people playing it right now. They still run tournaments, they still make a community out of it. You know? Don't worry about your game not having updates anymore. You know? Like, living organism and all its behavior. It's expressing it. There will always be a community for a game. Like, even look at a game like Breaker's Revenge. As such a small community, but yet people still play it. Melty got a whole big-ass tournament made out of VTubers. That game doesn't get updates anymore. Yeah, exactly, Alex. Yeah. It doesn't matter, man. Like, it doesn't matter if your game is dead or old or doesn't get updates anymore. You can keep going with the community of it. And you can keep pushing that game and keeping that game alive. And this is something that stops people from keeping games alive. I 100% agree with this sentiment. You might join a small community for your local Yu-Gi-Oh area, and you might be like, oh, you go into the Discord server. Oh, okay, please read it. So, Lord Jimmy Bone says, "Tell you what, my G, sometimes what's keeping new players from joining a community is the community itself." And that's completely true. And the reason I'm saying this in context to the community tweet, the old community tweet, is because that sometimes in, especially older gaming communities, people can be sometimes a little bit elitist about their game. And I know some people, especially from Corby, that, for example, tried to get into something like Melee, and they joined like a middle, like community for Melee in and around Corby or Northamptonshire or something, and they were completely put off by the kind of like elitism of the players, and they weren't welcoming to the people who just joined that Discord. They weren't really welcoming to it, you know. And it scared them away from joining a community, you know, which they could have really enjoyed. Like, Melee is a game that doesn't get updates anymore, you know. It's an old game with a big community, but people were stopped from joining that community and enjoying that game because the players that were already part of that community just decided to be elitist, and it was kind of awful. Because I would have enjoyed a couple of my friends like getting into Melee and watching them play, you know. I think that would have been cool. There was another tweet in the vein of this from Speedkicks, where he was like, oh, to help people into communities, or about helping people into communities, for example, sorry. So Speedkick says, what's the worst thing you can do in fighting games? Speedkick says, be mid-level and flame show off versus beginner level players. Here, good players are toxic elitist from lots of people unaware that they just ran into a hard-stuck 3-2er trying to make himself feel better. So the mid-level thing. So, something that I do when I try to get new people into communities. So a lot of you will remember, it was a little bit ago, I had my teaching Tekken 7 stream with Chucky or Leon. And what I did was I didn't just dump them into the game and say, okay, we're playing now, and perfect them 5 times in a row, right? I actively tried to say, oh, this is what you do, this is the game, these are some of the fun shenanigans you can do, you know. If you're struggling against this, this is how you beat this. And I also tried to give them a few rounds just to see how fun Tekken is when they're winning, you know. Just to show them how fun Tekken is when they're winning, right? And I feel like I actively encouraged Leon to play more Tekken. And they actively said that they wanted to play more Tekken after the stream. They tweeted out that they wanted to play more Tekken because of the stream that we had. And this is what I do with a lot of people. I invited my best friend to play Tekken, and now they're really into it, and in fact play the same character that I do. Like, I always try and invite people to play Tekken and not completely stump them. I want to show them how to play the game. I want to show them, you know, how fun Tekken can be when they're winning. And try and make them invested and work towards that. You know? Because I know if I just played my best and completely destroyed Leon or my best friend the first time that they played, they probably wouldn't want to play Tekken anymore. And so, yeah. Keep old games alive by encouraging new players, encouraging communities to thrive. You know? Bring in new players, encourage those new players, help them learn. Right? That's what I think. On a serious note, I feel like character discords are actually part of the problem. Outside of the wiki issue, because it's a whole load of discords to join, and the ratio of helpful people, resources, and SFW is completely out of whack on a case-by-case basis. Exactly, yeah. But one thing I also put that can help keep old games alive is use the wikis! They can help keep old games alive! If you record all the combos, if you record all of the strategies, if you record the frame data, use those wikis! Use those wikis, you know? And so, Sajam tweeted, this is a good friend about a new SF5 player being worried about, did I hear about the BBCF Dust Loop page? Didn't someone, like, troll it and remove all descriptions of character moves or something? Was that it, Alex? Nah. Oh, okay, what happened? Absolute blessed lad. It took 6 months. Oh? Working at full time sometimes. And finished the whole wiki. Let's go! Hell yeah, dude. And that's something that can help get people into old games. A fully developed wiki. And this is a thread that Sajam posted on Reddit about an SF5 player getting into Plus R because the wiki was really good. Like, an SF5 player who had never played a Guilty Gear game before, I was like kind of worried because, oh, Plus R is this, it's supposed to be a difficult, quite hard game or whatever. A lot of people say it's difficult. Man just looked at the wiki and was like, yeah, this is not too bad actually. Use the wikis! It can help people get into communities. And also, Heather saying, archive everything now for this FGC news. Announcement the future of EVO and SRK. Hey FGC, we're excited to announce that Shoryuken.com and EVO have become part of a new joint partnership of Sony Interactive and RTS. You can find out more about this announcement at evo.gg. For now, we're suspending the site while we work through what this new partnership means for the future of SRK. Thanks for understanding and patience. And so, Heather's saying archive everything now. Because we need this. We need SRK. Like, SRK was a great source of information for matchups and players, you know. Shoryuken was absolutely amazing. It had some absolutely great stuff on it. So, again, using these wikis and Shoryuken and things like that can absolutely get people into these older titles and, you know, make them excited. Keeping games alive. So, this is something that I want to do more often in terms of DANCHAT, and that's ending on a good note. I know in terms of like opinions, I have quite a few opinions on negative, and we normally end off on like, sometimes we end off on like a kind of a negative opinion. And I've decided I don't want to do that anymore. I want to try and end DANCHATs on good notes. And so, I'm going to be adding in, let's end on a good note section in DANCHATs from now on. So I'm going to open up some Twitter tabs. So, getting back offline, how do we recover as communities? Well, these tweets have some brilliant, funny views on this. So, like, I just kind of want the end on a good note thing to have some, like, funny, happy tweets, kind of thing. May the handshake mix-up die a horrible death once offline events return. This is a... this is a good video. I like this one. Offline events soon. That makes me happy, and in terms of moving forward. When the FGC really tries not to get another noise complaint, this is a really good one. Let me pause the music for this. I really love this video. This is what we're gonna have soon. We're gonna be having this again soon. I'm really happy. Look at the clicking. My man's doing that. I love it, man. Like I said, let's end on good notes, man. Because sometimes we end on, you know, negative opinions on something, but let's not do that. Let's end on some fun stuff, some fun, happy stuff. So when we get back offline, you know, look, it's all the boys offline. We're gonna have it again soon. Look at this. This is at Frosty Forstings, I think. Hell yeah, man. We're gonna be back to this again soon. I think it was Combo Baker that when they were booking it, they were taking up too much space and needed more, so they got given space that was dedicating to a wedding. Hey! Look at this! We're gonna be back to this! Let's end on happy notes, man. Ending on happy notes is always cool. Look at that! This is another great tweet that Rise Kanza tweeted out. We have a lot of strong and upcoming players in the UK across multiple fighting games. Some of them compete in more than one at a high level. Squash whatever issues you have with them and support each other to grow collectively together and become better. That's a great tweet. Let's go. Imagine having a wedding next to the room where they're playing uni without them doing gum loops. Look, man. That's a great tweet. Let's go ahead together as a UK fighting game community. Let's get it, man. Makes me happy. Tweets that make us happy, dude. Another good thing. Nairo's unbanned from tournaments. Let's go. Huge dub. Welcome back, Nairo. Welcome back to the scene. He's still banned on Twitch, but he's currently streaming on YouTube. Feel free to go and watch Nairo on YouTube. He's been unbanned from a couple of tournament series. Let's go. Huge. That's another thing that made me happy over the course of the week. A final thing that made me happy over the course of the week. Tekken 7 hits 7 million players. That's another huge dub. About 5 days ago, I think it was. Tekken 7 hits 7 million players. Or has had 7 million copies sold worldwide. Not 7 million players, but I'm assuming for everyone that's had a copy, they've probably played it once. Right? That makes me happy. Let's go. The art is really good, you're right. It's awesome. Look at our boy Gigas in the back. Look at Marduk. I want these like formal clothes in the game. I want all of these costumes in the game. Give me all of these costumes in the game. Every single one. I want to see my man Eddie looking fly as fuck. With that, we've come to the end of this episode of DanChat, but I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek at next week's episode so far, or what I've got for next week's episode. Because you've stayed this long, you deserve a look at it. So, next week, so far, we've got the Runeterra World Tour. Riot is actually doing cool stuff with their CCG. Awesome. Does online play matter when we get back offline? Looking a bit more at this tweet right here, because I found this tweet pretty funny and I thought that would be a good conversation to have. Ryu has just been released in Battle for the Grid, or just been confirmed in Battle for the Grid. That's pretty cool. We're going to be talking about that next time. We'll be talking about Rose in SF5, who's just recently been released. We're going to be talking about Firewall Dragon coming back in Yu-Gi-Oh! And the implications of that. We're going to be talking about Namco finally starting to ban people in Tekken Online. Absolutely amazing. And then we're also going to be talking about adding yourself into the game, styles and personalities in the FGC and TCG. So what characters you play, what controllers you use, your style of play, everything like that. That's all going to be next week on DANCHAT. And obviously there's still a ton more news to add. I thought I'd just give you a sneak peek. So that's the end of DANCHAT. And I'm going to leave you guys with this video. I'm going to leave you guys with this video one more time. And we're going to end the stream off of that. I just want to watch it one more time.
Focus. Now it's about very good in that spot, right? Oh! Oh!
And Fergus has made it into top 8. Oh yeah! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, bruv! But did I tell you? Didn't I tell you, bro? Yeah? I told you. You're the top player in Europe. You deserve to be here and you're in top 8 now. I told you.
And with that, see you next time, guys. Thanks for joining us at the Army of Death. And you can use all of the really cool links up there. Woo. Woo, woo, woo. To see me in on other platforms. And thank you guys for watching. You can stand down and cheerio.